Guys, Caleb's Cards here, coming at you with another World War II veterans autographs video for you today. We're going to be covering three veterans today that I received over the past few months through Scott Masters, who is a history professor at Crestwood Preparatory College in Toronto, Canada. And he has kindly reached out to some veterans that he's able to interview or get a hold of and just ask if they'd be willing to sign some letters or send something my way, as well as to a couple other people as well, which is pretty cool that I've been able to connect with. And I met him through the Veterans Breakfast Club, which both of those links are down below in the description box in case you want to go check those out and see what that's all about. But it was pretty cool to receive all these. A lot of these came around like November, December time, just before Christmas. And I've been saving them, so I figured to do about 3 or 4 at a time and share their stories with you. Many times, especially some of these being Canadian veterans, I would probably never have heard of them or found out about them, but through Scott, so it's always cool to hear their stories and see what they experienced and went through. So the first person we will be covering is Willard McBride, and he also included a signed, just a little note, a little thank you note. So we technically got two signatures here, but there's some information on him and his pictures. I'll read it to you because obviously the camera facing my direction flips the words upside down. It's kind of annoying, but that's just the mirror effect, I guess. So Willard McBride was born on January 23rd, 1924 in West Texas. He grew up against the backdrop of the Great Depression and was forced to leave school in 5th grade so he could help support the family. Willard worked on farms, fought forest fires, picked cotton, dug ditches. In short, he did what he had to make ends meet, especially after his father left the family. When the war came, Willard was working in an ammunition plant. He left the job when he was 18, opting to join the U.S. Navy. He did his training in California, and he headed into the Pacific out of the port of San Francisco en route to Nimue, New Caledonia. The battle for Guadalcanal was underway at this time, and Willard's ship, the USS Argonne, came under attack at this time, raked by shrapnel when a nearby ship exploded. Willard rose through the ranks as the Argonne moved through the island chains north of the Solomons on its way to the Philippines. His story here shines light on many of the details Navy personnel experienced when not on the immediate front lines. From the many repairs carried out by the crew of the ship to the interactions with the indigenous peoples, Willard's ship returned to the U.S. in the summer of 1945 and he learned about the atomic bombs and VJ Day while in San Antonio. After the war, Willard spent time in the Merchant Marine and he was able to meet his future wife on a return Cunard voyage from Britain to the U.S. Together they settled into the rhythms of post-war life. So, pretty cool story there. And there again is a second signature down below. So I'll try and put some pictures in at the end for you to see them more close up. Add those in. Next up, we have Jack. Oh, I'm dropping stuff. Jack Paley, and he includes some extra items. So here's his letter with he actually trimmed it down a little bit so it fit in the envelope. Jack Paley is a 100-year-old veteran of Britain's World War II SAS or Special Air Service. The SAS was an elite force that went behind enemy lines during the war, aiding resistance operations in enemy-held territory. Jack came from the Yorkshire area and an only child and son of a Great War veteran. Understandably, Jack's parents did not want him to join up. He did war work after he left school, and then he served on an anti-aircraft battery. But Jack remembered Winston Churchill's call for paratroopers, so he opted to do that, and later he and the regiment Cook volunteered for the SAS. So the regiment Cook and him volunteered. Jack did intense training in Scotland, and on 2 occasions he was dropped behind enemy lines, first in France in the fall of 1944, and then again in Italy in the spring of 1945. On both occasions, the men of the SAS delivered weapons and supplies to partisans fighting against German occupation. After the war concluded, Jack stayed in the army and he was sent to Palestine for a time. Opportunities were limited in Britain on his return, so he opted to immigrate to Canada. While there, he chose an army life again, serving with the PPCLI in the late 1950s. Again, here's his picture, or several pictures, and his story, and his autograph is, well, so he wrote there's a note there, and his autograph, I believe, here is on the back. So it says, please excuse the delay in my letter to you because of unforeseen circumstances. From a conversation with Mr. Scott Masters, he asked that I forward this to you. It is kind of you to remember the war veterans from the Second World War. It is with their supreme courage we pass on that to you, courage will be your motto. So very cool. And no problem. I'm always happy to hear from veterans. Let's see here. Is this part of his? Yes. It's a little article clip, a copy of an article clipping he found from 2018. Another SAS member looks like. And then here's his credentials. Again, sorry, it's mirrored, so it's upside down. So I'll read it to you. He was born 2nd December 1921 in Rothwell, Leeds, West Yorkshire, England. He joined the West York Local Defence Volunteers in 1940. He was in the Royal Regiment of Artillery, Heavy AA in Bofors, 1941-42. Air Landing Brigade Gliders, Bofors, later Parachute Regiment in 1943. 2nd SAS Regiment, 1944-45. The Parachute Regiment in 1946. And the Princess Patricia's Canadian Light Infantry from 57 to 60. So that's what, at the end, the PPCLI stands for. So very cool. So that is Mr. Jack Paley. And last, certainly not least, we have Guardsman Stuart Johns, who included a business card and signed the back. He's got a couple papers here, actually. So there's his pictures. He included couple roses, or poppy stickers, my bad. So there's kind of a facsimile poppy, and then there's a poppy sticker. So you don't wear it on clothing or wool. But Canadian Grenadier Guards Tank Regiment, 1943 to 1946. Stuart Johns was born in Windsor in 1925. Like many young men at that time, he joined the Army as a rite of passage directly out of high school. He recalls his mother being quite upset about his decision, not so much that it joined the service, but because she already had one son in the Army and she thought possibly spreading the danger around a little bit was maybe preferable. He took basic training in Chatham and proceeded to Camp Borden, Ontario for more advanced training in tanks. By 1944, he was headed overseas, and while he would travel getting to see England, France, Germany, and Holland in the war years to come, he would also experience much more than the average teenage boy from Windsor. My wartime experience crossed off that word innocent. Again, there's his signature. And then so a note of interest info from Stuart. I'll try and read this as best I can. Caleb, the name card is a copy of one I received at the, I think it looks like Canute, Ohio D-Day reenactment. The spelling armored is an American spelling. Canadian spelling would be armored, so ARMOURED. This name tag is my favorite. Top left picture. Top left picture. This is the crew of the GHID. So I want to say referring to here, top left. Or no, because this is backward. This one, GH. Taken out a half hour before leaving England for France in July 1944. So just after D-Day. In the Grenadier Guards, all tanks had to be named with a G. GHID is the name of an African antelope. Canadians wear a poppy on the left staple of a jacket or shirt over the heart from November 1st to November 11th. Written for Stuart by daughter Nancy. So that is what the poppy seeds or poppy flowers are for. So very cool, Mr. Stuart Johns, and appreciate all the extra information he included, and from his daughter as well as from Mr. Paley, all the extra info included. I'm going to try and put some pictures at the end for you so you can just kind of take a look at that for a few seconds. But I definitely appreciate you guys taking a listen or watching this video with me and just learning about these people. Some of these, I just quickly like skimmed through a few months ago, so it's kind of cool to read it through again and kind of get reacclimated with these people again. But then I just want to say thank you to Service for Mr. Johns, Mr. Paley, and Mr. McBride. Really appreciate it, and thank you again, Scott. Thank you, Todd, from Veterans Breakfast Club for putting all this together and bringing us together as well. And I just want to say thanks everybody for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Talk to you later. Bye.